8 equipment-free exercises to do at home that will transform your body after 50 years old. With the popularization of the fitness universe, an entire industry has developed around this culture of gyms and supplements, which unfortunately makes many people think that to change their body, they need access to the most sophisticated equipment, crazy diets, and expensive supplements. However, the fact is that the basics still work. It's entirely possible to change your body by doing some home movements a few times a week without having to regulate your diet as if you were a professional super athlete. Body transformation, especially after 50, doesn't need to be complicated or expensive. In fact, some of the most effective exercises are those that use only your own body weight. Therefore, today you will see 8 equipment-free exercises that can change your body after 50 years old. Before we begin, please leave in the comments your name and the city from where you're watching our content. Exercise 8. Lateral raise. The lateral raise is one of the most underestimated exercises when talking about body transformation. Many believe they need expensive dumbbells or specific machines to work the shoulders, but the truth is, we can easily adapt it for home. The deltoid, the main muscle worked in this exercise, is composed of 3 portions: anterior, middle, and posterior. The lateral raise mainly focuses on the middle portion, giving that appearance of wide and strong shoulders. Additionally, it strengthens the stabilizing muscles of the shoulder, improving your posture and reducing the risk of injuries in daily life, such as when storing objects on high shelves. Wide shoulders create that V-shaped silhouette that we so admire, giving a more youthful and athletic appearance to the body, something especially important after 50, when we tend to naturally lose muscle mass. To perform the lateral raise at home, you can use plastic bottles filled with sand or water. The weight doesn't need to be excessive. Remember that we're seeking quality in the movement, not quantity of weight. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, holding your bottle weights at your sides. Keep your elbows slightly flexed, not completely straight, to avoid tension in the joints. Now raise your arms laterally to shoulder height, forming a T with your body. Visualize raising your elbow before your hands. It's extremely important for the elbow to rise first, to direct the focus to the lateral deltoid. A common mistake is using body momentum to lift the weights. This drastically reduces the effectiveness of the exercise. Another frequent misconception is raising the weights above the shoulder line, which can cause impact on the rotator cuff and lead to injuries, especially after 50, when our joints no longer have the same flexibility. I recommend starting with 3 sets of 12 repetitions, with a 60-second interval between sets. Do this exercise 2 to 3 times a week, always with at least 48 hours of rest between workouts to allow for adequate muscle recovery. Exercise 7. Decline push-ups. Decline push-ups are a powerful variation of traditional push-ups, with an extraordinary benefit for those looking to transform their body after 50. This exercise intensely activates the upper portion of the chest, an area that often presents gaps even for those who train regularly. So imagine for those who don't train. If you have more prominent collarbones, this exercise is perfect for you, as it helps fill this region, creating a more harmonious and athletic appearance of the chest. Decline push-ups don't just work the upper chest, but also involve the anterior deltoids and triceps. This combination of muscles creates a synergistic effect, improving your functional strength for everyday activities, such as pushing heavy objects or getting up from the floor. To correctly perform decline push-ups, you'll need to position your feet on an elevated surface. It can be a sofa, a stable chair, or even the first or second step of a staircase. The higher the surface, the more intense the activation of the upper portion of the chest will be. Place your hands on the floor, slightly wider than shoulder width, and keep your body in a straight line from head to heels. One of the most common errors in this exercise is letting the hips drop, creating a curve in the lower back. This not only reduces the effectiveness of the movement, but can also cause back pain, something we should especially avoid after 50. Another frequent misconception is not going down enough. To maximize benefits, your chest should almost touch the floor with each repetition. For beginners over 50, start with 3 sets of 8 repetitions. If it's still too difficult, there's no problem adapting the exercise. You can support your knees on the floor instead of your feet, reducing the intensity until you develop more strength. As you progress, increase to 10, 12, and eventually 15 repetitions per set. The ideal interval between sets is 90 seconds, allowing sufficient recovery without cooling the muscles too much. Perform decline push-ups twice a week, preferably with at least 72 hours of interval to allow complete recovery. Exercise 6. Calf raises. Calf raises are often neglected in exercise programs, especially by people over 50. However, this simple exercise brings surprising benefits that go far beyond aesthetic appeal. First, these muscles function as a second heart pump, aiding in venous return and preventing circulatory problems such as varicose veins and swelling in the legs, common conditions after 50. Additionally, well-developed calves significantly improve balance and stability, reducing the risk of falls, which represent one of the main causes of serious injuries in older people. Another little-known benefit is the positive impact on the health of the Achilles tendons. With aging, these tendons tend to lose elasticity, becoming more susceptible to ruptures. Regular strengthening of the calves keeps these tendons healthy and functional, allowing you to remain active for much longer. To correctly perform calf raises at home, position yourself standing near a wall or chair for support. Keep your feet parallel, hip width apart. Raise your heels off the floor as high as possible, supporting your body weight on the balls of your feet. Pause for a second at the top of the movement, and then slowly lower, allowing your heels to lightly touch the floor before the next repetition. A more challenging variation is to perform the exercise with only one leg at a time, which doubles the intensity and helps correct possible imbalances between sides. Another possibility is to position the balls of your feet on a thick book or a low step, allowing greater range of motion as your heels descend below the level of the support point. A common error when performing this exercise is making quick movements and using momentum, drastically diminishing its benefits. It's not because it's a short movement that you have to do it quickly. Another frequent misconception is not rising enough or not descending completely, reducing the range of motion and, consequently, the results. Since the calf is a resistant muscle, I recommend starting with 4 sets of 15 to 20 repetitions with a 60-second interval between sets. Perform this exercise 3 times a week for optimal results. Exercise 5. Shoulder shrugs. Shoulder shrugs are a simple but extraordinarily effective exercise for strengthening the upper trapezius, a crucial muscle that is often neglected, especially by those who train at home. The upper trapezius is not just an aesthetic muscle. It plays a fundamental role in stabilizing the scapula and maintaining an erect posture. After 50, strengthening this muscle becomes even more important, as it helps counteract the natural tendency of the shoulders to curve forward that occurs with aging, sedentary lifestyle, and excessive use of computers and smartphones. It is also one of the simplest movements to execute. You don't need sophisticated equipment. Filled shopping bags, plastic bottles filled with sand, or even buckets with water can serve as improvised weights. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, holding your chosen weights at your sides. Keep your arms completely extended, and without bending your elbows, raise your shoulders toward your ears, as if you were trying to touch them with your shoulders. The key to maximizing the benefits of this exercise is in the contraction at the highest point of the movement. When your shoulders reach the maximum point, hold the position for a second, consciously contracting the trapezius muscles. This isometric pause at the top of the movement significantly enhances the results. Then, lower your shoulders slowly, controlling the downward movement to increase time under tension. A common error I observe is people using their biceps during the shrug, flexing their elbows to help with the movement. This drastically reduces the work of the trapezius and decreases the effectiveness of the exercise. Another frequent misconception is performing the movement too quickly, using momentum instead of conscious muscle control. The trapezius also responds well to more repetitions, so I recommend starting with 4 sets of 15 to 20 repetitions, with a 60 to 90-second interval between sets. Perform this exercise twice a week. Exercise 4. Tricep dips. Tricep dips are an exceptionally effective exercise to combat one of the most visible signs of aging, flabbiness on the back of the arms. After 50, the natural loss of muscle mass significantly affects the triceps, causing many to avoid wearing short-sleeved shirts out of embarrassment. The triceps is a muscle composed of 3 portions: long, lateral, and medial. The dip works all 3 heads simultaneously, making it one of the most complete exercises for this region. To perform correctly, position yourself with your back to a stable surface, such as a sturdy chair. Support your hands on the edge of the seat, with your fingers pointing forward. Extend your legs in front of you, keeping your knees slightly flexed to reduce stress on the joints. For beginners, keeping your feet closer to your body decreases the intensity of the exercise. Now, move your buttocks away from the chair and slowly lower your body, bending your elbows until reaching approximately 90 degrees, then push yourself up using the strength of your triceps. A common error I observe is people allowing their shoulders to rise toward their ears during the exercise. This transfers tension from the triceps to the trapezius and can cause discomfort in the neck. Keep your shoulders low and relaxed throughout the movement. Another frequent misconception is not going down enough, performing only half the range. For optimal results, lower your body until you feel a significant stretch in your triceps, without causing discomfort in your shoulders. To progressively increase the difficulty, you can elevate your feet on another chair, creating a more horizontal position of the body, which increases the load on the triceps. For people over 50, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 10 repetitions, with a 60 to 90-second interval between sets. Perform this exercise twice a week, ideally with at least 48 hours of interval to allow adequate recovery. Before we continue to number 3, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Having constant access to correct and science-based information is what will make you progress healthily in the long term in the world of weightlifting. Number 3, Wallsit. The benefits of Wallsits for people over 50 are extraordinary. First, it strengthens the quadriceps, crucial muscles for functional independence in old age, as they are essential for getting up from chairs, climbing stairs, and maintaining balance while walking. Additionally, the exercise intensely activates the glutes, which tend to weaken with age due to prolonged sitting time, leading to postural problems and lower back pain. And the best part, being isometric, it significantly reduces impact on the joints, making it ideal for people over 50, especially those with a history of knee problems. To correctly perform the Wallsit, position your back against a smooth wall and lower yourself until your knees form an angle of approximately 90 degrees, as if you were sitting in an invisible chair. Your feet should be hip-width apart and positioned about 12 inches in front of the wall. Keep your back completely supported against the wall and your arms relaxed at your sides or crossed over your chest. A common error is allowing the hips to rise above the knee line, reducing tension in the quadriceps. Another frequent misconception is letting the knees project too far forward over the feet, which unnecessarily increases pressure on the patellar joint. Keep your knees aligned with your ankles and direct the weight to your heels, not to the balls of your feet. For beginners, I recommend starting by maintaining the position for 20 seconds, performing 3 sets with a 30 to 60-second interval between them. As your resistance increases, add 5 seconds per week, gradually progressing until reaching 60 seconds per set. When you can comfortably maintain 60 seconds, make the exercise more challenging by alternately lifting one leg off the floor for a few seconds, which drastically increases muscle activation on the supporting side. Perform this exercise 3 times a week, ideally on alternate days to allow adequate recovery. Exercise 2, Burpees. This dynamic movement combines squat, push-up, jump, and cardiovascular work in a single explosive sequence, creating an extraordinary stimulus for the entire body. The power of burpees as a cardiovascular exercise is unparalleled. In just 1 minute of burpees, you can elevate your heart rate to the same level as an intense run, but with the additional benefit of working practically all major muscle groups simultaneously. Studies show that high-intensity exercises like this significantly increase caloric expenditure not only during the workout, but for up to 48 hours after, thanks to the effect known as EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. By engaging multiple muscle groups in a functional pattern of movement, this exercise helps preserve lean mass while accelerating fat burning, resulting in a younger and healthier body composition. To perform an adapted version of burpees, ideal for people over 50, start standing with your feet shoulder-width apart. Lower yourself, bending your knees and hips, and place your hands on the floor. Then, step your legs back until reaching the plank position. After a brief pause in this position, bring your legs back forward, close to your hands, and return to the starting position, standing up. In more advanced versions, a push-up is added in the plank position and a small jump when returning to the standing position, but these intensifications should be incorporated gradually. A common error when performing burpees is excessively arching the back in the plank position, which can cause unnecessary tension in the lower back region. Keep your core engaged and your body in a straight line from the top of your head to your heels. Another frequent misconception is performing the movement too quickly, compromising proper form. For beginners in this age group, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 5 to 8 repetitions, with a 90-second to 2-minute interval between sets. This volume may seem small initially, but burpees are extremely demanding, and it's crucial to adapt the body gradually. One of the biggest advantages of burpees is their versatility. You can adjust almost all aspects of the exercise to meet your individual needs. If push-ups are too challenging, support your knees on the floor during this phase. If impact is a concern, eliminate the jump and simply extend yourself until standing. Perform this exercise twice a week, preferably with at least 72 hours of interval, due to its intensive nature. Exercise 1. Glute Bridge. The glute bridge is a transformative exercise that directly targets one of the most problematic areas after 50, the glutes and the back of the thighs. With aging and a sedentary lifestyle, these muscles tend to weaken and lose tone, affecting not only appearance but also the functionality of the body as a whole. To correctly perform the glute bridge, lie on your back on a mat or comfortable surface. Bend your knees, keeping your feet flat on the floor, hip width apart, at a comfortable distance from your buttocks. Keep your arms extended at your sides, with palms facing down. Now, contract your glutes and raise your hips toward the ceiling, creating a straight line from your knees to your shoulders. At the highest point of the movement, squeeze your glutes firmly for 1 or 2 seconds before slowly lowering, controlling the movement. A common error I observe is people using the lower back muscles instead of the glutes to raise the hips. This not only reduces the effectiveness of the exercise, but can also cause discomfort in the back. To avoid this problem, focus on consciously contracting the glutes before and during the lifting movement. A tip that can help you with this is to visualize pressing your heels against the floor. Test it right now. Press your heel against the floor, and you'll already feel a natural activation of the glutes. Another frequent misconception is not raising the hips enough, which significantly decreases glute activation. For people over 50, I recommend starting with 3 sets of 12 repetitions, with a 60-second interval between sets. As the exercise becomes easier, increase to 15 and eventually 20 repetitions per set. And if besides home exercises focused on weightlifting, you also want to learn 5 isometric positions that can deeply strengthen your muscles, we have a video appearing right now on your screen, showing and better explaining each of them. Don't miss it. Thank you for watching.